Hit something in there.
Yeah, I think I was burning before we got there.
No, it definitely
there's
wasn't.
a second pile. Oh, wait, you're on the road. See it, smokely. Left of the column. It's on the column now. Oh, that was fucking close. Oh, it's off. Dude! Oh, that was brilliant. Back Reaper. Go for FAC. Neutralize one-time troop transport coming through Kappa heading south towards you.
Good copy, keep the good work.
Welcome to the CAS Primer. We're going to go over the absolute bare-bones information you need to know to be successful performing CAS in Arcomm. For details, you can check the handbooks, leave a comment, or shoot me a PM. First off, what's CAS? For starters, CAS isn't just an airplane that drops bombs on the ground, and it's not an airplane that drops bombs for ground troops. What it is air action by fixed or rotors against targets in close proximity to friendly forces, requiring detailed integration with their fire and movement. Who defines what close proximity is? If you're the pilot, not fucking you. Check that ego at the door, Maverick. That's for platoon and FAC to decide. It's not about you, it's about this guy. Phantom 1 and 2, clear lift. Close proximity is going to vary based on the tactical situation. Situational awareness, the size of the area of effect, how fast air can get rounds on target, how quickly infantry can move about, or even how spread out they are. What's detailed integration? That's what we're going to talk about, but the gist of it is teamwork, communication, and coordination. CAS basics are simple to understand. The hardest part is going to be learning to anticipate what each other's needs are on the FAC-CAS team. Raven FAC. Proper CAS is a constant back and forth between the pilots and the controller, and can be a well-oiled machine to provide fire support and effects when they're needed, where they're needed, and without killing friendlies in the process. CAS, abort! So here in Arcomm, we found that variations of the 5-line work best under the control of a single terminal attack controller. This balances draw distance limitations, air and threat weapons ranges, pilots' bloodthirsty need to murder everything that moves, and keeps FACs from being nothing but glorified traffic cops. FACs, you exist to serve the platoon. Platoon commands, you control. You hold the aircraft so that they're safe from both enemies and mid-air collisions, plan and give attack briefs to support platoon's plan, make sure that if marks are needed that things are marked, assess attack angles, and issue attack clearances. Pilots, you exist to serve platoon. The FAC controls you with the authority of platoon. You keep your aircraft safe, be where you're expected to be, listen to all radio traffic on the net, not just the stuff directed at you, fly with discipline, don't shoot at anything you're not cleared to shoot at unless it's self-defense, and provide the effects requested. Your typical CAS mission is going to have one or more helicopters checking in with the FAC, positioned somewhere that they can get the best SA of the tactical situation. All CAS happens on a single net to give everyone the highest SA of the ground situation and of any attacks in progress. When in range, the lead aircraft will establish contact with the FAC and be directed to a holding area to prepare to conduct attacks. The pilot will let the FAC know of any changes or updates to expected weapons loadout. If there's time, the FAC will give the pilots an update of the situation on the ground. Most importantly, friendly locations and expected movements, and any suspected threats to the aircraft. Once established in the holding area, the pilots will begin building their SA of the target area, and let FAC know when they're ready for tasking.
FAC, Phantom.
Set it. A 5-line is communicated in a standard format that contains everything needed to safely conduct an attack. The game plan will consist of the type, method of attack, and ordnance or effects requested in plain English. Type 2, bomb on target. Types are tools to mitigate friendly fire. Type 1 means the FAC can see the target, can see the attacker, and will be assessing where the aircraft's weapons are pointed prior to giving clearance. Type 1's useful when there's ambiguous marks, confusion, or when confidence in the pilot's abilities has been broken. Type 2 means that the FAC either can't see the target, can't see the attacker, or both, and will be relying on other restrictions to mitigate risk. Type 2 is useful for targets reported by squad leaders or the aircraft themselves, at night, or when required to stand off. Amendment to game plan, that's going to be Type 3. Continue. Type 3 is similar to Type 2, but for conducting multiple sequential attacks in a row within a given time window. This is useful for high-tempo or target-rich CAS, and unclutters the radio with needless comm. Methods of attack are what the aircraft need to do to be correlated on the correct target. Bomb on target means that aircraft are required to be tally, contact, or captured on the target or mark prior to attacking.
Visual tally in south.
Cleared on. Bomb on coordinate means that aircraft don't need to see the target at all. They can target a specific grid coordinate. This can be useful when aircraft are employing from above fog or clouds, from behind terrain, or with off-board lasers. Splash cease laser. Friendly location and optional mark can be given in any method that the pilot will best understand where the FAC or nearest friendlies are. This is typically a terrain feature or map marker, and may be supplemented with a talk-on or mark such as green smoke or a strobe light.
We are currently about 500 meters east of TRP-3.
Target location can also be given in any method that the pilot will understand where the target is, typically in relation to the friendlies just mentioned. This is a terrain feature, a direction and distance in hundreds of meters, or a map marker such as an EI mark or TRP.
Tree line just northeast of a 4-story red trim building near Alpha 2's position. I'm going to shoot a smoke.
Target description and optional mark tells the aircraft what needs to be attacked, which affects weapons, sequencing, and tactics. It doesn't need to be perfect nomenclature. General categories such as armor, mech, or infantry will do. Targets are typically marked with red smoke or laser, but just about anything can be used to walk the pilot's eyes into the area.
Smoke's on the deck. Enemies are in the tree line east of the smoke.
At a minimum, remarks and restrictions will include ingress and egress directions. These are usually left or right shoulders or left or right poles, indicating which shoulder from the FAC's perspective he wants air attacking from and egressing to, or cardinal directions.
Alright, keep your fires north and east of that smoke. Friendlies are less than 100 meters south of it. Cleared hot.
Any additional calls such as danger close or restrictions such as keeping fires on certain sides of georefs are made here. FACs have a tactical reason for any restrictions. Pilots, comply with those restrictions. You don't know what you don't know. Subsequent attacks may be abbreviated or omit information that the aircraft have already been made aware of. The entire brief should be passed in a single radio transmission, and while it may be passed out of order, passing briefs in sequence builds good habits and expectations, so if vital information is omitted by accident, the pilots will quickly recognize it and ask.
Copy. Give me a Type 1 bomb on target. 2 by rockets.
Copies. Do the best you can to engage.
It's going to be Yankee Delta 3, marked by GRG, right shoulder, right pull.
Right shoulder, right pull.
After the attack brief, the attacker will read back the target for Type 2 or 3, and any restrictions given in the last line. The FAC will provide corrections to readbacks if necessary. Correlation is an important step that ensures the attacker has acquired the FAC's actual intended target. Whether confusion might exist is up to the FAC to determine. For bomb-on-coordinate attacks, readbacks mean correlation is automatically complete because there's no requirement for them to see the target. The attack can commence. For bomb-on-target, correlation will depend on the type of mark and will be performed from a standoff if the aircraft is equipped with a sensor ball, or as the aircraft ingresses to the target area for marks such as smoke and direct fire. Once there's no potential for confusion, the attack commences.
You said medic is down.
God.
Visual tally in. They can take
Cleared hot.
my medic's back.
The aircraft will provide a pushing call when they are leaving station to conduct an attack. This lets FAC know that he has less than a minute to provide both friendly and enemy marks. Let platoon know that CAS is inbound, and expose himself if necessary to observe the attacks.
Phantom copies. Pushing.
On ingress, the attacking aircraft is lining up on the target area and is on the lookout for friendlies, while scanning for the target or mark. The communications flow will vary depending on the combination of type of control and method of attack in the game plan. Listed on the screen are just examples. For specific details, check the handbook, but this will quickly become second nature, and the combination selected by the FAC will carry a lot of implicit meaning for the attacker about his intent, risk, tempo, and following comm flow. The specific attack techniques and profiles are typically left up to the pilots, and are generally dependent on the type of weapon being used, and should allow enough time to acquire the target and receive clearance while limiting aircraft exposure to threats.
Cleared out.
After each attack, whoever is able to observe the target should announce their battle damage assessment. There may not be enough time for a detailed BDA, so good or negative effects, attack successful or unsuccessful, or target destroyed, suppressed, or neutralized will suffice.
Good hits.
The most important piece of information is what targets are remaining after attacks, so that the FAC can determine whether a re-attack is necessary. Aircraft will return to their previous holding area and report established or ready for tasking, and the cycle starts again. When out of ammo, Winchester, or low on fuel, bingo, attacking aircraft will request RTB routing, and the FAC will provide routing instructions to the nearest FARP, ship, or airfield for rearming and refueling.
Affirm.
Alright, yeah, you're approved. Egress to the south and rearm. Report when back on station.
Easy, right? Everyone on the team needs to have good communication, a positive demeanor, flexibility, and patience. Be part of the solution, not the problem. At the end of the day, it's two dudes on a net trying to help another dude who needs air support. Keep in mind that this is just enough info to be dangerous, and there's still plenty more to learn to increase efficiency and lethality, such as attack techniques, section and division tactics, brevity, and most importantly, good judgment.
That's what I'm talking about.
Increase your object view distance to at least 4,000 meters for helicopters and even greater for jets. This will give you the most time to acquire the target prior to releasing weapons. Be sure to adjust your settings in the ACE options menu to ensure default server settings don't override your game options. If your computer can't handle that, drop your graphics settings in other areas to accommodate. This is vital. Be sure to test these settings in multiplayer prior to the op.
How do I even mark that?
I saw the tracers. Bind your fucking radio keys in a way that lets you talk and fly at the same time, because you'll be doing a lot of that. There's no excuse to not answer your radio or communicate what you're doing, even if it's just engaged defensive.
FAC, we're in on the BTR, we clear?
Wave off, wave off, wave off.
Abort.
Do not just shoot at whatever you think the target is, unless they're shooting at you or they're shooting at friendlies, and you've cleared your angles and know that there aren't other friendlies behind your target. Ricochets kill. Be where you're told to be until told otherwise. If you get pushed to a holding area, you can hang out anywhere within 1 or 2 clicks of the marked center point. Use your best judgment and tactics about where to be in that holding area, and know that if you're being held there, FAC is probably planning on running you in from that general direction. Be patient, keep your speed up if it's not known or friendly territory, and be prepared to turf and defend if necessary. If you don't know where you're supposed to be, ask.
You're on it, effects in.
Copy that, and we're on the
Directed.
first BTR.
Blow your load according to the effects desired. If you need to kill light armor, you probably only need a handful of rockets. If you need to suppress a hillside to keep the Rusky hordes at bay, maybe 2 handfuls are warranted. Do your best not to go Winchester after 1 or 2 attacks.
I'm ready to push across this line.
Those rockets don't belong to you, they belong to platoon.
Alright, copy that. We're making pretty good time.
Alright, Phantom, abort. Alpha's pushing up to the objective.
Marks can be targets. Terrain features can be targets. You don't need to visually acquire enemy personnel in order to beat Tally in a bomb-on-target situation.
Go ahead and set your mark back inbound.
If FAC dies, that doesn't mean CAS stops. The next available person, trained or not, is going to grab the radio and coordinate fires. Aircrew providing CAS in these circumstances bear an increased responsibility to satisfy all the relevant information to minimize friendly fire. Finally, remember that good CAS means more than just destroying targets. It is also useful to disrupt, fix, or delay the enemy, to better coordinate ground movements or assaults, provide flank security, shut down escape routes, blunt an enemy attack, and interdict enemy forces that have penetrated friendly lines.
Grizzly sniffing.
This concludes the CAS primer. If you have questions, comments, or suggestions, let me know. See you in the air.
Reaper's RTB.
All your engines back, go ahead and RTB.
Did we complete everything?
Yeah, we out.